Welcome to the second part of the video. Here I'm presenting the finished project. 4 so-called masculine cards and an upcycled item. If you are interested in how these came together, please watch the first part of this video and visit my blog. Here is the first card that I created. The background was created on the gel plate, and you see in the first part how that was done. The flower was created through paper piecing, and that is also shown at least partially on the first video. I also cut out a circle from vellum, embossed it, and then I topped it with a paper woven strip. The strip was woven from gel printed papers, and it is topped by the sentiment which was stamped on acetate. Glued to the circle is a paper pieced flower, a cone flower, and then the whole circle, well, it's not really a whole circle, right? I cut off a little bit for interest. It was popped up onto the background, which was glued to a card. I also made an envelope, and this was created on the gel plate as well, with the same texture plate as the card. A large part of the envelope was masked off, so only the edges were gel printed. And here is my second card. It was in large part created on the gel plate, which is shown in the first part of this video. Following the gel printing, I added some paper weaving. The strips are also gel printed, and then we have the term anniversary stamped on them. It's never fully visible, but still readable. And the term happy was used in an eclipse technique. That's to say, it was cut from the background, then some fun foam was inserted between the cutout piece and the background, so that happy appears to be continuous with the background but still popped up. The envelope for this card was created in much the same way as the envelope for the first card. Remember the nature scene that I messed up when I stamped too firmly on the gel plate? I used it on this card. It is the basis for the woven circle that you see so prominently on this card. This card also features some ink blending through the stone wall stencil by Altenew. I stenciled in 3 different colors to create a little bit of visual dimension. On the circle we also have a cutout I heart you for I love you, and then we have the same stamped image that we've already seen on the first 2 cards, the cone flower, this time stamped on pearly white cardstock in black and not colored at all, so that the background colors can shine a little bit more. And then we also see that the little part that I cut off from the circle was glued to the bottom to create a bit of a connection between those 2 elements, the featured element and the background. I also created an envelope for this card, and it was created with the same stencil as the card background. However, for the envelope I used it with the same texture plate on the gel plate. My last card for the project breaks a little bit with the other 3 in that the color scheme is a little more colorful. We still have blue and purple, but there's also a little bit of green and orange, and there is no cone flower. However, it does feature, like the other one, some paper weaving. The paper that is used is gel printed paper, again printed with the same texture plate. And then we also have some gold featured prominently here on the large sentiment, which is created with a die cut from Altenew. And then when we have a look at the envelope, we see the same gel prints again. This time the envelope is decorated on the front, the back flap, and the inside lining as well, always created with the same texture plate. And here is the inside lining of the envelope. Here are a few bonus cards and envelopes made with the prints that we created together. I'm showing these without many explanations, but don't hesitate to put any questions that you may have in the comment section, and I will answer each and every one of them. The envelope that I'm pairing with this card was made from a cleanup sheet. I think this is good recycling. I usually try to do something with my cleanup sheets, not simply put them into the paper bin for paper recycling. Remember the ink left on my stamp after I stamped on the gel plate? I had stamped it over a light gel print of fern. It looked a little awkward. This is what it looks like now. It is a sympathy card with a French sentiment, and I paired it with the envelope that was created in much the same way. That is to say, it was also stamped from a gel print stamp-off. And this is the last bonus card that I'm sharing. It features the coneflower as well, came together through paper piecing. It is a birthday card, and I paired it with the envelope that features the leaves that we printed on the gel plate after I had removed all of the leaf masks. Finally, I will share the upcycled item. It started out like this. It was a tissue box. Of course, it was an empty tissue box. And these boxes are wonderful for storage, I find. I was in need of a small storage box to store my Altenew Mini Delights. Those are stamp and die combos where the die does not cut out what the main focal image of the stamp set depicts, but it cuts out a complementary item. So this is what the box looks like now. I decorated it with some gift wrapping that features birds, and on the inside you see black cardstock. This makes the box a little bit sturdier, and it also looks nicer than the cardboard color. And I also put some cardstock on the bottom. That one is brown. It doesn't need to color match because nobody actually sees the bottom. I mainly cared about clean edges here, and also the fact that the bottom is nice and sturdy. And this is what the front looks like. It features a beautiful die cut from Altenew, the mountain bird cut from gel printed papers, and in the background of the bird you also have some paper weaving similar to what I used on the cards. You can see that it is also labeled to show that this box is meant for the Mini Delights. And then I also created sleeves or pouches for this box, and I made those of paper. Since they are not see-through, I added the entire sheet of the stamp set on one side and the die on the other side. This way I can flip through and see what is what. Here's the first set that I own. It's called Afternoon Delights. I'm showing the stamp, and you can see I'm holding the pouch there. The corresponding die is a teacup, and that is related to the sentiments in this stamp set. You see it stamped here. So the entire stamp sheet is stamped on that one side. Same for this sleeve here, and on the back side I glued the die cuts. The next stamp features some butterflies, and on the back you can see a bird cage. It is a simplified version because I did not layer the cage. And the same goes for the next set. It has a beautiful floral, and then the die is a hot air balloon, and again I just glued a simplified version, not a layered version of the hot air balloon to my pouch. That's all I need to find what I'm looking for when I flip through these sleeves. And this is the last set that I own, with a beautiful floral and then a light bulb for the die cut. It is one that you can use to create a shaker card, which is of course terrific. I'm sure I will purchase a few more. So I created a few extras of these sleeves. And in one of those sleeves I also keep some extra of that pattern paper so that I can cut future dies from the same paper. And that is my project. I hope you liked it. I hope the video wasn't too bad. I know I wasn't always in focus. I apologize for that. And I also apologize for the mismatch between the video and the audio. Thanks for your understanding. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you liked my project, and I hope you come back. If you would like to know a little bit more about how I created or how exactly I decorated this box, what I used and how I made those sleeves, please visit my blog. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Have a wonderful day, and I hope we'll see you again. Bye!